So you're a titan of industry in the early 20th century. You've monopolized the oil industry and destroyed competitors using shady business practices. Why would you want competition? Competition is terrible unless you have control over it. Better yet, why not teach people that they cannot compete? After all, you don't want a nation of thinkers, you want a nation of workers. You are John D. Rockefeller. Here is the dark truth of the school system. In 1903, John D. Rockefeller founded the General Education Board, and within 5 years, he would donate $1.27 billion today, adjusted for inflation. Why would Rockefeller donate such a large sum of money toward American education?
Rockefeller and his fellow robber barons are not loved. Ordinary Americans resent their wealth and power. Oil tycoon John D. Rockefeller, his son, John Jr., decide to redeem their public image. John Sr., to win American hearts and minds, publicizes his philanthropy.
Did he donate his money because he is a good person? Did he donate his money because he truly cared about the American education system? Or did he donate his money to indoctrinate American society? The whole idea of assembling masses of students to be processed by teachers in a centrally located school was a stroke of industrial genius. The whole administrative hierarchy of education, as it grew up, followed the model of industrial bureaucracy. The very organization of knowledge into permanent disciplines was grounded on industrial assumptions. Children marched from place to place and sat in assigned stations. Bells rang to announce changes of time. The inner life of the school thus became an anticipatory mirror, a perfect introduction to industrial society. The most criticized features of education today: the regimentation, lack of individualization, the rigid system of seating, grouping, grading, and marking, the authoritarian role of the teacher, are precisely those that made mass public education so effective an instrument of adaptation for its place and time. Alvin Toffler, Future Shock, 1970. Everything Alvin Toffler just said shows the impact that the school system has on kids. It indoctrinates them to become a part of the workforce. And in the early 20th century, this was perfect for titans of industry like Rockefeller. Pumping children through the school system created less entrepreneurs, meaning less competition for Rockefeller. But obviously not everyone can be a billionaire, so what's so wrong with the school system? Honestly, for the average person in the 19th and early 20th century, the school system was great. It provided free education and prepared them to join the workforce, allowing them to contribute to society and provide for their family. Today, traditional schooling is outdated, and this became especially noticeable when the pandemic hit. With the introduction of the internet, the education system should have had a massive change, but it didn't advance nearly as much as the rest of society did. With the introduction of the internet and better technology, so many more jobs were created. The sad part is, for years now, we've been told by our parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents that the only way to be successful in life was by going to college. And that was relatively true for most of the 19th and 20th century, but with the introduction of the internet, everything has changed. I'm a 17-year-old kid who runs an eBay and Amazon business, and we did over $200,000 in revenue just in 2020, and I could have pocketed 50 grand if I wanted to. And that's a little bit above the average salary of a college graduate. And I'm only 17. I know hundreds of other teenagers that have made much more money than me. Plus, there's no limit to how much money I can make. The amount of work I put in equals the amount of money I get out, and I'm not in any college debt. Traditional schooling is downright risky. 41% of college students don't use their degrees after graduating. What's the point of going thousands of dollars into debt if you're not even going to use that degree? You went to college because your parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents told you to? That's what's screwed up. Yes, the school system hasn't innovated a lot, but our thoughts on schooling are stuck in the 1900s. You can become a DoorDash driver and still have enough to live. You can sell on eBay and Amazon and make more than a college graduate. You can go to trade school, learn about stuff you actually care about, and make a career out of it without going hundreds, thousands of dollars into debt. It is alarming to me that there are so many kids who go into college thinking it's the only way to be successful. But the reality is, a degree is becoming more and more obsolete. And hey, if you don't know what you want to do in life yet, you can always go to community college, become an intern, go to trade school. You can go back to college literally anytime you want in your life. Unless you want to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, athlete, there is no reason you should be going through the college system. Factory owners require a docile, agreeable worker who would show up on time and do what their managers told them. The school system was made to produce workers, and that isn't bad, but society thinks that you are a bum if you don't go to college. If you want to work a factory job, if that's what makes you happy, you can easily do it. You don't need to go to college. If you want to be a STEM worker or an athlete, you pretty much have to go to college. But what about the artists, the artisans, musicians, entrepreneurs, any other lifestyle that isn't STEM or factory? Please, do not take the school system so seriously. These schools weren't built to make creative kids. They weren't built to make entrepreneurs. They weren't built to make artisans. They were built to make factory workers. They were built to make doctors, lawyers, engineers. They were built to make workers, not thinkers, just like Rockefeller intended. And his huge donations back in the early 20th century aided this. Don't worry about what your family thinks if you're failing school, if you're not going to college, but that's risky. No, it's not. You know how many college graduates lost their job this year because of COVID? The internet is the future and brings endless opportunities for making money and being able to support yourself. You have other goals and aspirations that don't require a college degree. The school system wasn't made for you, so don't let it define you. Thank you for sticking to the end. Hopefully you got something out of this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please go ahead and subscribe right down here. To let me, I have some of my older videos. Go ahead and check them out. But my name is Austin Hustles. I hope you have an amazing day, and I'm out. Later.